Before we really get into this, let me say one thing. If you missed the era when FPS games were fast, skill-based, stylish, and unapologetically intense, you should absolutely stay until the end of this video. Because Out of Action feels like a game that doesn't just revive that spirit, but pushes it forward in a way I honestly didn't expect. Out of Action is a dystopian cyberpunk PvP FPS, but calling it just a shooter doesn't really do it justice. The moment you load into a match, you can feel that this game is built around movement, momentum, and expression. It doesn't want you to stand still. It doesn't want you to play safe. It wants you to dive, slide, dodge, roll, air dash, and turn every fight into something cinematic. And the crazy part is, it actually works. The combat is brutal and fast, but not mindless. Every weapon has weight, recoil, and personality. Gunfights aren't just about who shoots first, but who moves better, who reads the situation faster, who uses the environment and their abilities creatively. One second you're sliding into cover, the next you're diving through the air, grabbing a weapon mid-flight, and finishing someone off in slow motion. It feels less like a traditional FPS and more like playing inside a high-budget cyberpunk action movie. One of the most interesting things about Out of Action is how deep the customization goes. You're not locked into rigid classes. Instead, you choose a shell, and while each shell has its own baseline attributes, they're more like foundations than strict roles. From there, everything is up to you. Weapons, attachments, perks, augments, devices, all of it shapes how you play. You can build a fragile but insanely mobile glass cannon, or a heavily armored tank that still moves faster than it should. You can specialize in stealth, raw damage, utility, or pure chaos. The game genuinely lets you play how you want to play. Progression feels meaningful because it's tied to performance and skill, not just time spent. You unlock new options by actually engaging with the mechanics, completing challenges, and experimenting with different playstyles. It encourages you to improve, to try new builds, to master movement and combat flow. And what I really appreciate is that cosmetics are handled with restraint. Everything fits the aesthetic. No ridiculous skins, no immersion-breaking nonsense, no monetization nonsense either. Everything you unlock feels earned and grounded in the world. Movement deserves special attention because it's honestly one of the strongest parts of the game. Dives, slides, dodges, rolls, air dashes, all of it feels fluid and responsive. But it's not just movement for movement's sake. These mechanics are tied into scoring, abilities, and the core system. How stylish and effective you are in combat actually matters. You're rewarded for creativity, for aggression, for confidence. The better you play, the more powerful you become in the moment. That brings me to the core mechanic, which is probably one of the boldest ideas in the game. It's essentially a multiplayer bullet time system, but implemented in a way that doesn't completely break the flow. When activated, it creates these cinematic slow-motion moments that feel incredible, but only affect players within line of sight. That means fights in other parts of the map continue normally. It's chaotic, stylish, and surprisingly fair. And because core charges based on combat effectiveness, it becomes another layer of skill expression rather than a cheap power-up. The interactivity in Out of Action is also wild. This is the kind of game where you can pull off moments that feel almost improvised. You can yank weapons toward you with nanowire while mid-air, reflect projectiles with a sword, shoot rockets out of the sky, punch a weapon into someone's face, or even attach a turret to a teammate's back. These aren't scripted moments. They're emergent gameplay systems colliding in real time. And when something insane happens, you know it happened because you made it happen. Visually, the game leans hard into a dark, gritty 90s anime-inspired cyberpunk aesthetic. Neon lights, industrial environments, rain-soaked streets, brutalist architecture, it all blends together into a world that feels oppressive but stylish. The gore and dismemberment aren't there just for shock value. They reinforce the brutality of the combat. This is a violent world, and the visuals don't shy away from that. At the same time, the UI and visual effects are clean enough that you always understand what's happening, even in the chaos. The environments themselves are designed for movement. Verticality matters, cover placement matters, lines of sight matter. Whether you're breaching a facility, hacking terminals, stealing data, or defending objectives, the maps constantly push you to move, adapt, and take risks. The flagship 5v5 objective mode feels especially strong because it's asymmetrical and lore-driven, giving matches a sense of purpose beyond just kills. And yes, this is very much a multiplayer-focused game, but what surprised me is how much care went into the offline mode. This isn't a watered-down side feature. The offline mode includes the same mechanics, customization, and objectives as PvP, but against AI that actually uses the same tools you do. That makes it highly replayable and genuinely challenging. It's perfect if you want to practice, experiment with builds, or just enjoy the game at your own pace without jumping into PvP immediately. There's no matchmaking here, which might sound strange at first, but it actually fits the old-school philosophy of the game. You use a server browser, join community-run or official servers, and jump into matches organically. It feels like a throwback to the golden age of PC shooters, where communities formed naturally around servers rather than algorithms. The lore is another layer that really impressed me. It's not shoved in your face, but it's there if you look for it. The Shells, the mega-corporation Arika Biotech, the conflict between Jinsec and the Onryo. It all paints a picture of a world shaped by corporate greed, unethical science, and fractured identities. Environmental storytelling, faction aesthetics, and future lore-driven modes all hint at a deeper narrative waiting to unfold. Knowing that this game is being developed by a solo developer with decades of industry experience honestly makes it even more impressive. You can feel the passion behind every system, every mechanic, every design choice. Out of Action feels like a game made by someone who truly loves FPS games and wants to create something bold, skill-driven, and uncompromising. Right now, the game is already among the most wish-listed titles on Steam, and after spending time with the demo and watching how the systems interact, it's easy to see why. This isn't trying to chase trends, it's carving out its own identity. If you're a fan of fast-paced shooters, deep customization, expressive movement, and cyberpunk aesthetics, Out of Action is absolutely one to keep on your radar. It feels like a love letter to classic PC shooters, rebuilt with modern mechanics and fearless design. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.